Welcome to the Be It Till You See It podcast, where we talk about taking messy action, knowing that perfect is boring. I'm Lesley Logan, Pilates instructor and fitness business coach. I've trained thousands of people around the world, and the number one thing I see stopping people from achieving anything is self-doubt. My friends, action brings clarity, and it's the antidote to fear. Each week, my guests will bring bold, executable, intrinsic, and targeted steps that you can use to put yourself first and be it till you see it. It's a practice, not a perfect. Let's get started. Welcome back to the Be It Till You See It interview recap, where my co-host in life, Brad, and I are going to talk about the ageless convo I had with Joe Casciani in our last episode. If you haven't listened to that one yet, feel free to pause us now, go back and listen to that one, and then come back and join us, or listen to this one, then go listen to that one. Do what you want to do. Go whatever you want. You could start from the beginning. You can start from number one if you want.
Yeah, start from number one.
There's
this
some
is
good
only
ones.
episode 181, so
Only.
you're going to get there.
Do you know I found this one podcast on episode 74, and they kept referring back to an episode in another time, so I literally went back to number one and worked my way through.
I'm very impressed.
I know. Did
you listen on like 3 times speed?
No, just my regular 1.5 speed. And also did it on the road trip. So yeah. And I became an expert
I'm impressed.
in the topic. So, 10,000 hours. I mean, it wasn't, but it felt close. Anyways,
It
back.
was 74.
74 minimum. So anyways, you guys, we're currently on the flashcard pre-sale for the chairs. And so, that means
The flashcard pre-sale for the chairs.
yeah, the flashcard pre-sale for the chairs. Seashells down by the seashore.
She sells
actually-
the flashcards.
I've been having a little bit of trouble with some words lately. I'm going to figure that out. But anyways, if you didn't know about that pre-sale, it's because you weren't on the wait list. Period. End of story.
That's right.
That's how it goes. You want to be on wait list for things because people on the wait list get deals. They get better options, better prices, first dibs, all the things.
Just like if you haven't heard, we're changing the way that we're selling things.
Yeah,
so if you would like to be in the know, you got to join the wait list.
We're starting a new trend here, and
It's true.
and if you want to hear how to do this for your own business, that's what agency is for, and there's wait lists for that somewhere.
There we are.
At any rate,
We will have a link in the notes about the wait list for the flashcards and for Agency Mini.
yeah. And so when will these be shipping? You'll probably want to know. Well, barring all supply chains, hurricanes, and atmospheric rivers, May, June.
Well, right now it's the end of February, right? So basically 2.5 months
It's pre-hurricane season is what I'm going for. I didn't realize that I had to include supply chains and hurricane seasons when I create deadlines for things. So we know that now, and we're doing
We
that.
do. We know that now. We know that now.
And we are, if you're listening to this in real time, we are 2 days away from a Mexico vacation.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you guys,
Yeah,
I'm so
I'm ready.
excited.
It's going to be nice.
If you see stuff happen on the socials, going to be honest, it's because someone's doing it for me. Because I'm going to go to 2001 time, when you only could get on MySpace.
I'm
on
going to
your
be
computer.
social mediating the hell out of our food that we're going to eat.
So
I'm just kidding.
you don't even have social media. Anyways, we're going on vacation. We highly recommend you do that for yourself. The podcast will still be dropping.
Oh, yeah. All the things.
All the things are happening, but if you don't have a vacation plan for this year, and I know that vacations can sound extremely privileged, so I do understand money is a thing, but just put an out of office day and do a staycation, which I know sounds boring and whatever.
Oh no, they
but
can
also,
be so great.
do you know BLM land is free to do things? So you
It
guys
sure is.
find there's BLM land wherever you are. Brad, tell them what BLM land is.
Bureau of Land Management
Yeah, so
in the US of A.
you can do a lot of fun stuff in BLM land, by the way.
Yeah, you can blow shit up if you wanted to even do that.
We don't quote us if anything happens to you because of the feds. But at any rate, you can. I do not want to be your buddy you call. He said Brad and Lesley.
I was north of Joshua Tree. So Joshua Tree is a national park. And the BLM land is basically the land that nobody wants because there's nothing there. It's just nothing. And so it ended up in the Bureau of Land Management, their responsibility, but there's nothing to do to it because they don't do anything to it. There are hardly even roads in some places, but just north of Joshua Tree is a whole bunch of BLM land, and you can go, like they host festivals out there sometimes, all sorts of stuff. And I went out there with my friends because you can actually, it's a little different with this. Like my buddy's a drone pilot, right? So he's allowed to operate a drone, and you can't do it over federal airspace because it's illegal. So you go to different places where you don't have to worry about it. And we were camping in Joshua Tree, but you cannot fly a drone in the national park.
Do not do that.
So we went just north of the national park to BLM land where we could fly a drone, no problem. So you do all sorts of fun stuff.
We didn't even know we were going to talk about drones or that, but what I am going to say is just a reminder. This whole tangent happened because I want you to go on vacation more.
Yes, it did.
Yeah. So I also took off like just random extra days in January just for my birthday for the fuck of it. And I have to I'm telling you, it feels even more delightful to do it when you're supposed to be working because you're like, everybody's working, but I'm at the spa and you deserve it. You don't need a reason to do it. You don't have a reward. You don't have to work hard for this. You just need to be a human being who deserves some time for themselves. So
well, I also think that it's a muscle. And I say that because I'm really bad at exercising it for myself. The reality
You're
is...
terrible at it.
The reality is if you don't schedule time for yourself, you never will.
He literally has to go to BLM land where there's no signal to go on vacation.
Yeah, because otherwise I'll work... Yeah, I'll just work 7 days a week. I just keep going.
I hung out and read a book on a day off. That was supposed to be a work day on my PMF mat with my red light reading a book, and it was delightful, and I binged out on a documentary. Anyways.
We did take Saturdays off the past 2 Saturdays, and that was actually refreshing, and honestly, I felt a little guilty on one of the Saturdays, but it was also like, I need to get over that.
Yeah, well, it is our day off, so it's supposed to be. The last thing I'm going to tell you is it's getting close to the time where I'm going to cut off anybody being able to apply for Elevate round 3, my mentorship program. So if this is something you're wanting, we only have a couple spots left for the 3rd round. And I'm just going to tell you, I'm just going to dangle this little carrot. I've already planned a retreat for the alumni.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I included
for 2024.
For 2024.
P.S.
And I made sure
breaking
that
news. Beep, beep,
round
beep, beep.
3 could actually attend this retreat.
Yeah.
So if you were like, oh my gosh, I want to be on a Pilates retreat with LL in Vegas, this is the only way to do it. You have to be an Elevate alumni, which means you have to sign up for round 3. So you go to lesleylogan.co/elevate.
Yes.
And you can apply, check it out. We only take 12 people per round. We're midway through round 2 already. Round 1 people are already jonesing about this retreat. I told them today.
Oh, you did? Okay,
I did. I was
cool,
like, oh my gosh, you guys, you have to save the date. And they are losing their minds.
Awesome.
So anyways, okay, that's all. Now, before we get into Joe, do we have an audience question?
Yes, we did. So I read that you do Pilates every single day. How many minutes do you do each day?
Isn't that fun?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, we get kind of hit up about a lot of Pilates questions on the gram for obvious reasons. But this one I thought was helpful because I know how. First off, I have had an opportunity to work with a bunch of teachers, and teachers end up not teaching. For the same exact reason that we don't...
not practicing.
That's what I meant. Sorry. Teachers end up not practicing for the same exact reason that I just talked about not taking time off. They don't leave time for themselves in their schedule to maintain their practice. And so then they feel guilty about it. It's this whole thing. So, but Lesley, I know you have been incredibly intentional about that. So can you talk about that?
Yeah. So I protect my time to do my practice, my other kinds of workouts, like it is life or death. Because it is. I'm going to be really honest. It is. You might not die because you don't do Pilates, but if you are teaching fitness or you're teaching something and you're not doing the thing that got you so passionate about it and that you wanted to teach it, you become resentful of people, you become exhausted,
sure.
You start snapping, your relationships suffer and you suffer, and oh, by the way, you burn out.
And your teaching suffers, by the way.
It really does. If you're wondering why your clients are not referring to people, it's probably because you're not excited. Here's what one of my teachers said to me 15 years ago when I first started. She said, if you're bored, your clients are bored. And that doesn't mean you need
Right.
to come up with new exercises all the time, because I teach the order, y'all. I teach the same shit every day, all day long. But you get bored when you are not being curious in your own practice, whatever that practice is, yoga, bar, anything like that.
Yep.
So to answer your question, during the week, for sure, I do at least 15 minutes up to 30 minutes daily. And then 2 times a week, I will hit an hour. And that's because I scheduled the hour. Typically, the other days that
or you're taking a session from your teacher.
I'm taking a session from my own teacher. Is why that happened. The other days when I'm on my own, it's mixed into the strength training that I do. So I'll do like my walk. Maybe I bike, or I do some strength training, and then I do my Pilates, or vice versa. And I meditate. So it's kind of in my morning routine. And I have a few exercises that I love to start with, just to see what my body is craving, what it needs. But I often know just from the night before's workout, like what was a struggle. And so I kind of just get curious about that. But what I would just say is, like, first of all, no one says you have to do a 55-minute session to do Pilates.
Or any workout.
Or any workout whatsoever. Any amount of minutes of movement is better than no minutes of movement.
Yeah.
And
we ran an entire program called Full Body in 15.
yeah, I think people can get that for free if they want.
Yeah. Just go to onlinepilatesclasses.com. It's in the free tools or free resources section.
Yeah. So go there and grab that. And if you do 5 of those minutes every day, you already fucking won.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's my daily practice. It really does help me kind of settle the anxiety, because sometimes I just wake up and I'm so excited for the day that I literally create anxiety about getting it all done.
We are so incredibly opposite.
We really are.
Unbelievable. You are like, yay, it's a new day. I'm like, why am I awake right now?
And then I'm like, oh my God, I get all the stuff done in this one day. How am I going to get all of it done in one day?
Amazing.
And then I get it all done and I'm like, ooh, what else can I do? So anyways,
amazing.
I hope that helps. You guys, I love answering your questions. You can send them to me on the gram. You can send them to me anywhere. You can tag me, to be honest, and ask your question. We want to answer it. It can be about life, fitness, business, whatever. The purpose of this podcast is to help you be it till you see it. So if we can answer a question that helps you get there, we want to.
All right, now let's talk about Joe Casciani. Joe celebrates aging and living to 100 years old. As a psychologist specializing in older adults, he brings strategies that are crucial to aging well and inspires individuals to overcome the hurdles keeping them from living their best lives.
Okay, so I'm going to jump in first because I love that he talked about there's different ways to define your age. He had a chronological age, which is your actual age. Hello, I'm 40 and fabulous.
Yes, you are.
Functional age, which is movement. By the way, you guys, I have taught in my lifetime little kids who are so tight, they're more less flexible, I should say it that way, less flexible than my 6-year-old clients, and vice versa. So it just functional age is important. And
I think so isn't the quote from Joe Pilates that you're only as young as your spine is?
Yeah. You're only as young as your spine is old.
Yeah.
And then also, FYI, just if you're like, I don't know that Joe knows what he's talking about because, he was probably a carny boxer who lied about a lot of things. And that was like,
but he's basically talking about functional age.
He's talking about functional age. And also they have done scientific studies that show if you cannot get down on the floor and stand back up without having to use
your hands,
and extra equipment, it takes 30 years off your age.
30?
Yeah.
30?
I'm almost positive.
All right, we're going to look it up. But I definitely know it knocks time off your age, your lifespan.
You'll die sooner if you can't get down and off the ground.
We're going to find that study and we'll include that in the show notes.
It's because people you just get unhealthy because you don't get up out to go to the bathroom. So you're living in, anyways, a lot of things going on there. Yeah, also balance.
But so that's I know actually you incorporate that into the mat practice. Standing, sitting at the beginning and the end of it. Something my yoga teacher likes to do too.
I watch my father and try to see how he does, how he gets on off the ground. You guys, he used to have to when he started working out with our trainer, he used to have to be next to a pole to grab a pole.
That's true.
Use both hands to get himself up. And now
he's also had 2 knee surgeries.
He's had 2 knee surgeries and he's 70. But he now can do burpees and he just jumps into the splits and he walks his hands back to his feet.
Oh yeah, that's right.
He's really
been doing that now.
He's been really good about getting up, and I'm like, yes, you're gonna live to 90.
Yeah, I think the other, it's also like the last little bit before you sit. Like, do you plop? Because a lot of people, they just let it all go and they crash into the chair.
Notice how you sit into a chair or a toilet. That'll tell you.
Toilet as well. Although sometimes that you may actually feel that a little bit more than a chair. But like,
do so disassociated, Brad. They are not. But anyways, you'll hear it. You'll break. If you broke your toilet seat, you plop. That's just so you know. Biological age, how the body is aging. This is also really huge. One of the studies I had done on my blood work, the guy found that my veins were had like little cracks in them.
Interesting.
And so even though at the time I was 33 years old, my veins were doing things that shouldn't happen until I was older. So even though I could run, so I had like a functional age that was really young. And my chronological age was young. My biological age was not. It is better now. And then finally, your psychological age, how you see yourself. You guys, just so you know, when people say I make 40 look good, I know. I do know.
My wife.
So it's really, these are all really important ages. And so I just love that he broke that down, because I think what you guys can do at home as you listen to this is just like ask yourself, okay, my chronological age is X. Can't change that. But what is your functional age? Is it, do you feel like it's your age, or do you feel like it's younger? The goal is younger on the functional age always.
Yep. Do you feel strong?
The biological age, does it feel like it's yours, or does it feel like it's older or younger? And then psychological age.
Well, biological isn't actually how you feel. I would say that's your functional. The biological would be like, is your skin, your eyes, your
hearing,
your lungs, your heart, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
your
so
hearing.
You're going to need a blood test for those things.
Yeah, that's more of a doctor thing. And then your psychological age, he talked about how you see yourself. And it was really interesting, because after going through these 4 different ways of defining age, which he didn't really expound on very much, the remainder of the conversation really shifted to the psychological age, and specifically how you see yourself, because what Joe teaches is perspective, right? And the perspective is it's a mindset. It's be it till you see it, to the T. I mean, is literally that.
I was on his show. I'm going, oh my God, his show is like literally how we be it till we see it. Because I mean, you hear people like so afraid of aging, but like what he talks about is how with psychological age, you can absolutely determine how old you feel.
Yeah. So this actually rolls right into my, the favorite point that I had from what he was talking about. So, the psychological age, people who think that they're younger than their chronological age, he's called it a CA. People who actually think they're younger than their CA are doing better in life all around. They have fewer chronic diseases. I'm making an assumption here because he didn't actually say it, but I'm guessing that they'll live longer. You know, and most likely they will have better functional movement as well.
Oh, I mean, I think it like, here's that thing, like if you start to feel sick and you're like, I'm sick, do you realize that you start to feel sicker? But if you're like, I feel a little tingling in the back of my throat, I'm going to take a little supplement, I'm going to drink a little bit of water, I'm going to go to bed earlier, I'm going to be okay.
I'm going to be okay.
Yeah, I'm going to be okay. And like, guess who gets sick more?
Right.
Like I know for myself, whenever I like lean into the sick, I get sick big time. So I would just like to say, pay attention to how you are talking about your age and how you are feeling about that, and like what you're saying, because we have been challenging, my father on how he feels about his age, because he used to say,
so this is interesting. Yes, we have been challenging him, and why don't you finish that thought? And then you said a specific word I want to comment on. Yeah.
So we've been challenging him because he like years ago was like, oh, I'm going to live till this time, so I want to do this before I'm this age. And we have been really like, no, you are doing all these things. And so we keep him around young people. I mean, he lives around older people, so every day it's like, and someone else died today. But we keep him working out around young people and all this stuff. And, he is feeling I see him moving younger, and he has a lot more energy even when he gets, he does get tired and he gets annoyed by text. But, other than that, we're doing okay.
But you said something very interesting. You said he feels younger, right? And I think that we should draw a distinction here, because the psychological age is how you see yourself. And I think that the functional age will contribute to the psychological age, because when you can say, well, I might be 40, but I feel like I'm 30. You're feeling that's the functional age, and that's going to impact the way you see yourself, your psychological age. So by taking care of your body, or by incorporating movement, the 15 minutes a day, 30 minutes a day of Pilates we were talking about, you're going to be positively impacting your functional age, which you're going to then see yourself as younger. You're going to think of yourself as younger with the psychological age.
Yeah, I totally can get down with that. And also, I think we just have to recognize we have so much more control over how we feel than we give ourselves credit for. For example, I hurt my knee literally the week before my birthday.
Right.
And I was like,
yeah, actually it was like, I was concerned at the gym because it didn't look like, you definitely looked like you're in pain.
I was in pain.
Yeah.
For sure. But what clouded my mind first was like, oh my God, is this permanent? Do I need surgery? Did I just and you do this whole
did I just jack up my entire career?
Did I just rip my knee apart?
Yeah.
And I took a moment and was like, you felt this pain before. Your knee is fine. It is not swollen. It is not throbbing, and we can walk on it without any added weight.
Yeah.
And then I looked for signs to prove that my knee was healthy. This is key, everyone. Meaning, as I walked down the steep ramp that they force us up to go to the gym, I had no knee pain. And what I know is that, if you have knee pain on a downhill, there is probably something going on, because knee pain on an uphill is it can be a lot of different things, but there shouldn't, you're going downhill, it's easy. So it should be fine. I had no pain on the downhill, and I didn't actually have pain when I wasn't moving.
Right.
So I was like, okay, if there's no pain when I'm not moving and there's no pain on a downhill, then whatever pain I have is definitely something we can work with. And so I actually looked for ways to heal myself and for it not to be a big deal. And here we are 1 week later, 0 problems, no problem. I mean, I had to do a lot of stuff to do that, but no problems, no damage. It's fine. My point is,
and this stuff didn't include pills and pain meds or any of that. This stuff included a chiropractor's visit,
a massage,
2 massages, and then using a massage tool.
I got a new tool. Maybe we'll have the guy on. Anyways, the point is I remember my brain distinctly going, oh my God, I'm getting older and I hurt myself.
Sure.
And then I was like, we reject that.
Yeah. The collective in your head.
The collective in my head.
We reject that.
Yes, all the Lesleys, all the ages. So you guys need to do family therapy. You'll understand.
Amazing.
Anyways, the point is, pay attention to how you're talking about yourself and how you are leaning into things that are negative or positive. If you want to feel younger and you want to live a long time, and I don't want to just live a long time because I want to have some sort of record. I want to live I want to
enjoy life.
I have seen and heard from people who are surgeons at 102 years old, and they're not actually cutting, but they're at the surgery, telling the guy what to do. I want to be with it at that age, because there's too much of this world I haven't seen yet. Yep. So anyways, I went on a tangent. Sorry.
I love it. No, so basically, it really does come down to a mindset, right? And how do you help support that positive mindset? Well, maintaining good movement is going to help your functional age. You have no control over your chronological age. That's just aging. Your biological age is your body, so that's probably going to really be a contribution to your biological age. Would be how healthy you are, what you're eating, how much you're sleeping, stuff like that.
Environment is huge, you guys.
Your environment.
Check your mold.
Check your mold.
Well, if you have mold,
hopefully you don't have any mold to check.
Right, that's the goal. Check it.
But these things are the functional age and the biological age. My assumption here is that they would be a direct contributor to the way you see yourself, the way you feel. So your psychological age. Okay, finally, let's talk about those be it action items. What bold, executable, intrinsic, or targeted action items can we take away from your conversation with Joe Casciani? Let me jump in here. He talked about this very interesting idea called cognitive embodiment. And I think it really does go along with this psychological age concept. We see ourselves as what we want to become. So Story, he talked about binge eating, right? And struggling with binge eating, which will affect your biological age, right? He said, if you want to break the habit of binge eating, you need to see yourself as someone who is not a binge eating person. In fact, you need to see yourself as someone who is permanently thin, right? And so this is very much a be it till you see it moment.
Yeah. And by the way, you can replace binge eating for anything that you want.
Anything.
And then see yourself as the person you wish you were.
Yeah. And there is a decision involved, of course, and you need to be kind to yourself because, we, like Lesley's talks about habit breaking and habit building throughout the pod here. But another thing that he said, which I thought was really kind of went along with this, is he said, the golden years, no one is going to knock on the door and say, your golden years are here. You have to decide that you are in your golden years. And he was definitely talking to an older crowd. But when you decide that you're enjoying your golden years, maybe you're in your 80s and everyone else is like deciding that they're about to die. But maybe you instead decide that you're in your golden years.
Yeah. Did we talk about, did I talk with Joe about the knee surgeon who wanted to figure out which way was fixing the knees? Because
I don't believe so.
Okay, this goes back to the story you tell yourself, you guys. I heard this podcast for years ago, and there's actual studies about the stories we tell ourselves. So this goes with how you see yourself at what size. It also goes because you make decisions based on how you see yourself. That's how it works out. But this knee surgeon, there's a study. So to do a study, he wanted to know if scraping the knee or draining the knee was actually healing the knee and giving people their livelihood back. So he needed to have a group of people who needed this surgery, but he did nothing with. That's a control group. Who
needed the surgery?
Yeah, way to go, Dad. Then he needed a group of people he only scraped the knee, and a group of people he only drained the knee. Obviously, it's an experiment, so they tell no one. They don't tell people which group they're in, and he played the same. He did the same things for every group as far as what the incisions look like. And then the people who had no knee surgery, they actually played a knee surgery video while they were under. And then they did little incision marks as if they had knee surgery. Everyone went through the same post-op stuff, same pre-op, but what they had was different. Guess what, y'all? The people who had no surgery had the same results as people who had surgery.
No way.
Yeah, they thought they had surgery. They thought they had it. So they're like, my knee is better. And they went off. And I'm not kidding you guys. I thought it was brilliant, which is why when I hurt my knee, I was like, guess what story I can tell myself right now? Anyways, I'll get to my biggest takeaways. So, because I just said it. Mindset that I want to keep moving forward. So if you guys, my grandfather just wanted to die. That was his whole thing.
Yeah.
And so he died pretty young. I mean, still, some people would say it was, he lived a life, but I would say he missed out on a good 10 more years of true, enjoyable living. I really would. And so you need to be careful about the things you say about yourself. When people say you look good, you look so young, don't say, oh no, it's this. I do. I do look so young. I am so young. I feel so young. Really practice that. And then just so you know, because he's a doctor, they have a word for this in the medical field. They call, it's a word, it's a term, it's a phrase, it's a thing.
It's a phrase?
Yeah. Is it a phrase when there's two words or more?
Sure.
Okay, so in the medical field, they say process over content. And I was like, okay, what?
Yeah, so, what does that mean?
It's the journey, not the destination. Loves, enjoy the journey. Going back to my announcements, take a fucking vacation.
Yeah.
Take care of yourself. Be careful what you say about yourself. If you want to be it till you see it, it's not just in your goals in life. It's not just in your relationships or like becoming an artist. It's like how you get to the fucking end and enjoy that journey.
Totally. Yeah.
All right. I'm Lesley Logan.
And I'm Brad Crowell.
Thank you so much for joining us today. How are you going to use Joe Casciani's tips in your life? We want to know. We want you to tag us at the Be It Pod. We want to thank you for listening to this. It's so much fun to make this podcast for you. We couldn't do it if you didn't have listeners. It would just be us hanging out, talking to each other. We could do that any other time. So thank you. DM the Be It Pod with questions you have, requests you have, and until next time, be it till you see it.
Bye for now.
That's all I got for this episode of the Be It Till You See It podcast. One thing that would help both myself and future listeners is for you to rate the show and leave a review. And follow or subscribe for free wherever you listen to your podcast. Also, make sure to introduce yourself over at the Be It Pod on Instagram. I would love to know more about you. Share this episode with whoever you think needs to hear it. Help us and others be it till you see it. Have an awesome day. Be It Till You See It is a production of As the Crows Fly Media.
It's written, produced, filmed, and recorded by your host, Lesley Logan, and me, Brad Crowell. Our associate producer is Amanda Fraterelli.
Kevin Perez at Diseño handles all of our audio editing.
Our theme music is by Ali at Apex Production Music, and our branding by designer and artist Gianfranco Cioffi.
Special thanks to our designer Jairo Mandal for creating all of our visuals, which you can't see because this is a podcast, and our digital producer Jay Perdoso for editing all the video each week so you can.
And to Angelina Herrico for transcribing each of our episodes so you can find them on our website. And finally to Meredith Crowell for keeping us all on point and on time.